If you're a pastor or a ministry leader, maybe you've been thinking about the effects of COVID and the information age and how all these things relate together to affect the church and how we do ministry. If you've been thinking about that, I want to share a quick reflection. One of my favorite places to shop, at least until recently, was this amazing place called Fry's Electronics. If you're here from the West Coast or somewhere that has a Fry's Electronics, you know that Fry's Electronics is one of the most amazing places for techie people to spend countless hours. You can find just about any electronic need that you could possibly think of. You can check it out, put your hands on it, and make an informed decision. And on top of that, they had these very immersive environments where they had these giant spiders or these giant rocket ships, and it was just a very entertaining, immersive place to do your shopping needs. Well, unfortunately, after 36 years of business, they've had to close their doors to the public. And as I was thinking about that, I started to reflect and think, even though we're living in an information age, how is it possible that a technology company can fail and close their doors? Some of the vloggers and the tech journalists tell us that there was certainly not for a lack of trying that they closed their doors. In fact, Fry's Electronics in the last few years rolled out a couple of very innovative things. So that means their wheels were turning, they were trying to adapt, trying to find one way for them to stay afloat. And one of the things that they tried to do is they had a very aggressive price matching strategy. They said that if you find something, a product that's priced lower anywhere else, we will match that price. Another thing they tried to do is to expand to selling other things that were not technology. So they were kind of trying to expand their product line, but none of the things that they tried actually worked. So the question becomes is, how is it possible that a technology company could not survive in this information technological age? Well, some people might say, well, yeah, that the answer is easy. It's called Amazon. Yeah, I'm sure that Amazon had an effect. I'm sure that COVID had an effect. But more than likely, these were trends that were precipitated by these two enormous factors. Amazon alone is not enough to explain why Fry's Electronics had to close, because you think about it, there are other technology companies that are not failing at it. For instance, you think about Best Buy. Best Buy is a very similar company to Fry's, where you can go in and you can check products out and you can make an informed decision, talk to a knowledgeable person about the product. They're doing very well. They're competing with Amazon. You think about Costco. Costco sells a number of different products that are a direct competitor with Amazon, and they're doing well. Well, the tech journalists tell us that there are two reasons why Fry's Electronics was not able to survive. Number one, they were too slow in developing an online presence. One tech journalist puts it this way. He says that yes, it's difficult for almost any retailer to compete against Amazon. But there was a long period where Fry's Electronics seemed to have absolutely no interest in selling online. Can you imagine a tech giant being unwilling to embrace the new technology, the way that the world was heading in terms of online sales? And then once they did start to sell online, the guy continues, not only was their website not good competition against Amazon, but it really didn't feel all that much like the Fry's experience that people liked in the real world. What does that mean? What he was saying is that number one, this institution was very slow to adapt to online sales. And when they did develop an online presence, it didn't have the same values, the same experience that people were used to when they came to online stores. What does that have to do with the church? What does Fry's Electronics have to do with the way that we do ministry? Actually, if you think about it quite a bit, culture has changed so much. The information age has absolutely revolutionized the way that we interact with people, the way that we connect socially, the way that we learn. So much of learning now takes place online. And as a church, if we're to stay current with the culture, if we're going to continue to communicate in the language that people communicate, We need to embrace the technology that they are utilizing. Recently, John Drain, one of my professors at Fuller Seminary, mentioned to me, and he said it this way: we need to begin to embrace the digital world as the next major mission field. Think about that. You think about missionaries who go to distant lands and they study the linguistics and the culture, and they begin to contextualize their methods of sharing the gospel to a completely different culture. I think we need to begin to think of the digital world as the next mission field, where we learn the language, and when we learn to contextualize the gospel, to share it in a way that's meaningful, but in a way that people are used to sharing and engaging and connecting and growing and developing digital and online communities. So my question for you today is, what would it mean for our church, for your church, to begin to expand our ministry into the digital world and to treat it as the next mission field? What are the kinds of questions that we need to be asking about how to contextualize our ministry more digitally? Who are the ministry leaders that we need to be talking to? And what are the conversations that we need to start together as we wrestle with these issues of contextualizing the gospel and creating digital communities and sharing the gospel in new ways, in the ways that people are used to connecting with each other and with the gospel? God bless you as you continue to engage with other ministry leaders about how to continue to grow the kingdom in this new and vastly changing landscape.